Back to another episode of Wandering Wednesday. Today we are wandering again through the Keys, and I'm hoping to give you a little bit more insight in being able to, as you start to explore the Florida Keys and come up with some different places and locations to explore outside of Key West, because we all know Key West is great, but there's some other places that we can absolutely explore. And today I had somebody ask about how far is Duck Key to Key West. There's some really nice resorts in Duck Key, and it's strategically located. I'm going to say about halfway between Miami and Key West. If you're actually looking at the mile markers, it might be a little bit off. But Duck Key is about 60 miles outside of Key West, and it's about an hour and 20-minute drive to get to Key West, and that is absolutely going to depend on, again, traffic. It may look like a short distance between all of these little islands that are connected in the Keys, but I'm telling you, traffic plays a big part. But that being said, Duck Key offers a really nice stopping point. So maybe you're spending a few days exploring the Keys and a few days in Key West, and then making it a whole Florida Keys vibe trip. Duck Key is a really great place to think about staying. As you drive into Key West, of course, as you're exploring the Florida Keys, you're gonna see the 7 Mile Bridge. You're gonna stop in and probably see Big Pine Key. You've got Pigeon Key. Again, you're only about 60-ish miles outside of Key West, so if you fly into Key West, you could theoretically drive back up to Duck Key. You can also fly into Miami or Fort Lauderdale and drive down. There are some, if you're not going to fly in terms of flying into Key West, think about, and if your budget allows and this is something you want to do, think about heading out onto a helicopter ride. A short little excursion to see the Florida Keys from the air really gives you a true perspective. It's gorgeous and it's a beautiful scenic drive, but seeing it from the air, especially in a helicopter, really makes it a nice experience. Duck Key, I think there's like 650 people or so who live on Duck Key. Some people think it's the upper Keys. I say it's more of the mid Keys. It's a relatively easy drive either from Key West International or Miami, depending on where you're coming in from. But you have absolute beautiful water views. It's direct access to coastal waters and world-class fishing. So if you're coming down for fishing, consider Island Murata, Duck Key as one of those locations that you're absolutely going to want to stop and see. If you are bringing down a boat or you're looking for places to launch your kayak, there are many places along the overseas highways here that you can do that. One of the popular resorts in Duck Key is Hawks Cay Resort, and it's a major tourist attraction. When you see a lot of the aerial footage of the Florida Keys, that's one of the resorts that they hone in on. It's a spa-style resort. They have a lot of amenities. You're centrally located, so if you want to head out onto the water and do water sports or dive or kayak or fish, it's all right there. Of course, there's other rentals and other places along the road there. And this location, you're going to be very close to the Turtle Hospital there in Marathon. Keep in mind the Turtle Rescue Hospital, they help rescue turtles that have some need of medical care or looking after, and then their whole goal is to release them back. And if you time it right, sometimes you can be witness one of those releases of the turtles back to the ocean. You're also near Curry Hammock State Park, which is a great place to go kayaking, bird watching. You would be amazed at the number of birds that comes through the Florida Keys. It's an absolute vital habitat for the Keys and all of the ecosystem down there. You're about 40-ish minutes outside of Theater of the Sea, so you're able to go up there and see Theater of the Sea, experience that. So if you're traveling with a family, that Duck Key can provide some of that outdoor Florida Keys vibe that you're probably going for. If you want to go snorkeling and diving and all of that, you're going to see amazing coral reefs. And again, the fishing is top notch. Duck Key, there's some interesting fun facts I found as I did some research. It's historically, salt production was made there in Duck Key and around in those areas. There are massive tarpon fishing opportunities around Duck Key and the waters around there. A lot of people take those boats out and do fishing tournaments and look for tarpon when they're in season. And of course, you can boat out to a sandbar. There are, of course, sunset cruises still around. There are opportunities to experience fresh seafood and all of that. Exploring the area, you're going to have Key Colony Beach, which is great if you're going to look for a beach. You've got Pigeon Key, which is an historic island underneath the 7 Mile Bridge, and you can go check that out. Again, you have Curry Hammock State Park, beautiful place to go picnic and explore. And of course, we always talk about Big Pine Key. Go check out those key deer and learn the story of how that National Key Deer Refuge was put together. It is an amazing story. There are so many things to do in this whole area. You're pretty close to centrally located. Your mile marker about 60. You're 60 miles outside of Key West. A little more than an hour and 25 minutes or so, depending on traffic. So you could pop down, do a day, come back. Or again, Duck Key is a great place to stop and just explore the Keys and spend a few nights. Great restaurants. There's, like I said, mini resorts, lots of rentals to check out. The best time to visit would be late fall or early spring. You're going to have milder weather, usually fewer crowds except around the holiday season. You're outside of the hurricane season, and it's not really as rainy. Summer can be very rainy. Like I said, you can fly into Fort Lauderdale, Miami, or fly into Key West and then drive. This is a great location if you're just trying to spend time with family or spend time with just decompressing and going off the grid. Key West can be more stimulating. There's not a lot of quiet places in Key West. The farther up the Keys you go, keep that in mind that it is going to be a little more quiet, a little bit more reserved. It's not going to have all that nightlife, but you got to figure out what is the experience you're going for. As people start to book and look at places to come into the Florida Keys, I wanted to give you guys some reference points of how far certain keys are from Key West, because sometimes people think that, oh, I'll just be at Big Pine and it'll just be a hop, skip, and jump over to Key West. Well, it is, but you're going to have to drive. It's not quite a hop, skip, and a jump, and you're going to have to deal with traffic. And so keep all of that in mind. Again, it's all about the experience. What are you looking for when you experience it? I am Michelle with Fun in Key West, and I want you to head over to our website, FunInKeyWest.com, and check out all of the information we have about the Florida Keys and how you can explore outside of Key West. Be sure to sign up for our happy hour list. That gets you on our newsletter. But also feel free to join our free book club. We are diving into books that have some connection to Key West, and we're having a blast. And we have a private Facebook group over there. I am Michelle. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Wandering Wednesday. And I hope that you guys have a great day and enjoy your week. Talk to you later. Bye.